When I handed my mom the envelope, she smiled like she had just won the lottery. She thought it was the deed to a lake house. It wasn't. She didn't even open it. She just looked at the size and shape, gave a fake smile, and tossed it in the trash like it was junk mail. That's when I knew. I was done. I'm in my early 30s now. I run a small tech company and do well for myself. People think I'm lucky, but luck had nothing to do with it. I worked for everything alone. My mom didn't help. She wasn't kind. She wasn't supportive. She raised me with guilt and control. When I was a kid, everything was a transaction. If I wanted a birthday party, I had to earn it. If I got sick, she said it was because I didn't listen to her. If I cried, she told me to stop being weak. She liked to remind me that she sacrificed everything, but the truth is, she sacrificed nothing for me. She used me to make herself look good, and she never let me forget that I owed her. When I started making good money, she reached out more. At first, she dropped little hints. "Wouldn't a lake house be nice?" she'd say, smiling too hard. Then she got bolder. "I deserve that lake house," she told me. "I raised you. It's only fair." I tried to be polite. I didn't want to start a fight. But inside, I felt numb. I didn't want to give her anything. Not after everything. But I also wanted to be sure. So I gave her something else, a test. I made her a small scrapbook of old family photos. I wrote a letter too, one that said I wanted to fix things. I wanted a real relationship, not one based on guilt or gifts. I handed her the envelope and watched her face light up. But when she opened it, her smile vanished. She didn't even read the letter. She threw it straight in the trash, like it meant nothing. She looked at me and said, "This isn't what I raised you for." That was it. She didn't want me. She wanted things from me. She didn't care about a relationship. She only cared about what I could give her. I stood there for a second, feeling cold. Then I smiled, nodded, and left. I knew then what I had to do. I was never going to give her that lake house. I was done pretending she deserved it. She didn't even deserve me. When I was a kid, everything with my mom felt like a deal. If I wanted something, I had to trade for it. Love was not free. Kindness came with a cost. If I asked for a birthday party, she said I had to be good enough first. One year, I didn't clean my room well enough, and she canceled my party the day before. She looked me in the eye and said, "You didn't earn it." She liked to talk about how much she gave up for me. She always told people she was a single mom who worked so hard. She said she never bought herself anything because she was always spending on me. But I don't remember any of that. I remember cheap dinners and cold silences. I remember her sitting on the couch watching TV while I did my homework alone. If I got good grades, she said, "That's what you're supposed to do." If I didn't, she said I was ungrateful. She liked to remind me that I ruined her life, that she could have had a better future if I wasn't born. She said I owed her everything. When I cried, she told me to stop being dramatic. When I was sick, she told me I was faking. If I wanted to talk, she said she was too tired. As I got older, nothing changed. I got a part-time job in high school to buy my own clothes because she said she didn't have money. When I saved up for something, she said I was selfish for not using it to help the family. Once, I bought a used laptop with my own money, and she screamed at me. "You don't think of anyone but yourself," she said. She took it and sold it. When I turned 18, she sat me down and said it was time to start giving back. She said now that I was an adult, I had to start helping with the bills. She said, "You owe me. I fed you, didn't I?" I moved out the moment I could. I worked through college, sometimes taking night classes just to make it work. I barely slept. She never called to check in. But when I started doing well, when she saw that I had money, that's when she came back. Not with love, not with care. She came with her hand out. She told me I should be proud to take care of my mother. She said I was lucky I had someone like her to push me. She told me I should buy her a house. Not just any house. A lake house. "It's the least you can do," she said. But the truth is, she never did the most. Not even close. She gave me a roof, but no warmth. Food, but no love. She told the world she raised me with care, but I was just something she dragged along. Every time I think about helping her now, I hear those words. "You owe me." And then I remember everything she took, everything she didn't give. That's why I don't feel guilty. Not anymore. My older brother Tyler was always the favorite. Everyone in the family knew it, even if no one said it out loud. My mom looked at him like he was perfect. He could do anything, and she would still defend him. If he failed a class, she blamed the teacher. If he got into trouble, she said he was just misunderstood. She treated me differently. I was always the problem. If I got a B, she asked why it wasn't an A. If I did something right, she'd say Tyler could do it better. She made me feel small, like I was just there to be compared to him. If I asked for help, she said I needed to be more like Tyler, strong, smart, confident. But Tyler didn't have to do anything to earn her love. He just had it. Tyler got everything he asked for. When he turned 16, she gave him a car. When I turned 16, I got a used backpack. She said she couldn't afford anything else. Later, I worked 2 jobs and saved up to buy a cheap car. When I finally bought it, she didn't say good job. She looked angry and asked, "Why didn't you use that money to help with rent?" When Tyler ran up his credit cards, she paid them off. When he quit college, she told people he was just finding himself. When he lost jobs, she said the companies were unfair. One time, he borrowed money from me and never paid it back. When I asked about it, she told me to stop being selfish. She said, "Family helps each other." But family always meant me helping him. There were times I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was too sensitive. But then family members started saying things too. A cousin once told me, "Your mom talks about Tyler like he's a saint. She barely mentions you." That's when I knew it wasn't just in my head. At family dinners, everyone gave Tyler the spotlight. He told the same stories and everyone laughed. When I spoke, people didn't even look up. My mom would interrupt me or change the subject. I felt invisible, even when I was right there. It hurt, but I got used to it. I stopped expecting anything. I kept my head down and worked hard. I didn't ask for much. I just wanted peace. But peace didn't come. Even when I became successful, it didn't matter. Tyler still came first. When Tyler needed money again, this time to cover rent for a fancy apartment, my mom called me. She said, "Can't you help your brother? He's going through a rough time." I said no. She got angry and said I had changed, that I forgot where I came from. But I didn't forget. I remembered everything. Every time she made me feel less. Every time she picked him over me. Now when I look back, I see the truth. My mom never saw me as a person. I was just the other son. The quiet one. The one she didn't need to love because Tyler was already enough for her. That's when I stopped trying. That's when I decided I didn't owe them anything. Not him. Not her. Not anymore. I left home as soon as I could. I didn't say goodbye. I just packed my things and left. There was nothing for me there. No warmth, no support. I needed space to breathe. I didn't call my mom, and she didn't call me. That silence went on for years. I had no plan at first. Just small jobs and long nights. I worked in cafes, cleaned offices, and took classes when I could afford them. Some nights I slept in my car. Some weeks I skipped meals to pay for books. No one helped me. I didn't expect them to. College was hard. I didn't go to a big school. I picked the one that gave me the most aid. I worked every break, every summer, and still came up short. But I kept going. I had this small idea for an app. Nothing big, just something I built to solve a problem I had. People started using it. Then more people. I added features, fixed bugs, and stayed up for days learning how to make it better. After college, I turned that idea into a business. It was slow at first. I didn't pay myself much. I reinvested every cent. I rented a tiny room with no heat. I ate cheap noodles most nights. But the company grew. One day, a big investor noticed what I was doing. He made an offer. That deal changed everything. I made my first million before I turned 30. It felt unreal. After so many years of struggle, I could finally breathe. I could finally stop worrying. For the first time, I felt like I had made it. Not because of anyone else. Because of me. That's when my mom called. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't ask where I'd been or what I'd gone through. She just said, "So when do I get my lake house?" I was silent. I didn't even know what to say. I hadn't spoken to her in years. Not a birthday call. Not a message. Nothing. But now that I had money, she acted like no time had passed. Like we were close. Like she was part of the journey. She said it so casually, like it was already hers. Like it was her reward for raising me. But she didn't raise me. Not really. I raised myself. I worked. I fought. I suffered. She wasn't there for any of it. That call stuck with me. Not because of what she said, but because of what she didn't say. She never said she was proud. Never said she missed me. Never said sorry. She didn't care about me. She just cared about what she could get from me. That's when I knew. No matter how much I earned, she would always see me as something she could use. Not someone to love. Just someone to take from. And I wasn't going to let that happen again. I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to believe that my mom only cared about money. A small part of me still hoped she wanted a real connection. Maybe she just didn't know how to show it. Maybe if I reached out first, things could be better. So I made a plan. No lake house. Not yet. I wanted to see how she would react to something simple, something real. I spent a few weeks putting it together. I found old family photos from when I was a kid. Some were bent or faded, but they still meant something to me. I printed them, cleaned them up, and made a scrapbook. I wrote short notes under each one, sharing little memories. At the end of the book, I added a letter. I told her I wanted to rebuild our relationship, not with gifts, but with time and effort. I said I wanted to move forward, but only if it was honest. I wrapped it carefully. It wasn't expensive, but it came from the heart. I brought it with me when I went to visit her. She smiled big when she saw me, like she already knew what was coming. She looked at the gift and said, "Is this it?" I nodded. She laughed and said, "Finally." She sat down and started unwrapping it. The moment she saw the scrapbook, her face changed. She flipped through the pages quickly, not reading anything. Then she pulled out the letter, looked at the envelope, and tossed the whole thing in the trash. She didn't even read a single word. I stood there frozen. She didn't say thank you. She didn't ask why I gave it to her. She just looked at me and said, "This isn't what I raised you for." That sentence hit me harder than anything before. I didn't know what to say. She said it with disgust, like I had insulted her, like I had done something wrong by giving her memories instead of a house. She looked disappointed, even angry. And in that moment, I felt something inside me break. She didn't care about me. Not really. She didn't even try to understand what I was doing. That scrapbook was the most honest thing I had ever given her. It was full of effort, full of truth. And she threw it away like trash. I looked at her, and I saw everything clearly. The years of silence, the cold treatment, the fake smiles, the way she only showed up when she needed something. All of it made sense now. I had given her a chance to show love. She showed me the truth instead. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just nodded and said, "Okay." She didn't ask what I meant. She just smiled again and said, "Let me know when you're ready to do the real gift." I walked out of her house that day feeling nothing. No more guilt. No more hope. I had tried. She failed. And I was done. I walked out of her house without looking back. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I felt clear. For the first time, I fully understood who she was. She didn't care about love, kindness, or family. She only cared about what she could get. I had given her a chance. She threw it away. So I made a quiet decision that day. I wasn't going to argue with her. I wasn't going to fight. I was done trying to explain myself. I just smiled, said thank you, and left. She thought she had won. She thought I would come back later with the gift she wanted. But she was wrong. I had something else in mind. At home, I sat down and made a list. Not out of hate, but out of calm focus. I was going to make sure she never got another chance to use me. I started with my will. I met with my lawyer and took her name off everything. No money. No assets. Nothing. I made sure it was clear and legal, with notes explaining why. I also made sure no one could change it later. Next, I looked at my company. I owned it fully, but I didn't want anything tied to my personal life. I separated my business and private money. I made new accounts. I put certain assets under protection. Everything was tracked, every paper signed. I wasn't leaving any weak spots. I wanted to be safe from guilt, lies, or lawsuits. I had seen what people like her could do when they felt entitled. Then I looked at the lake house. Yes, I had bought one. Not for her, but for myself. I hadn't told anyone about it. It was quiet, peaceful, and hidden away. A place I dreamed of during my hardest nights. A place that meant something to me. I had planned to give it to her once, before everything. But now I knew she would never value it. So I changed the plan. I decided I would give it to someone who truly deserved it. Not yet, but one day. Maybe a teacher who once helped me. Maybe someone who gave without asking for anything back. I hadn't chosen who, but I knew it wouldn't be her. I started keeping records. I saved messages. I wrote down dates, calls, and everything she said. Not because I wanted revenge in court, but because I wanted the full truth in front of me, in case anyone questioned it. I wanted proof of how it all happened. I wanted to protect myself. It wasn't loud revenge. I wasn't shouting or burning bridges. I was building something better. A life without her. A future where she couldn't touch me, take from me, or twist the story. This was quiet. I knew one day she would ask again. She would come back with the same smile and empty words. But when that day came, she wouldn't find what she was looking for. She would find out, in her own time, that the door was closed, locked, and gone forever. I waited a few weeks before I posted anything. I wanted to be sure I wasn't acting out of anger. I needed to feel calm, and I was. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about truth. I was tired of hiding everything she did. I was tired of pretending we had a normal family. People thought she was kind, loving, and selfless. They didn't know the real story. So I wrote it out. I didn't use her name. I didn't blame anyone directly. I just told a story. A true story. I shared what it was like to grow up in a house where love had a price. I shared how it felt to be used, not cared for. I talked about how I built my life alone. How someone who never helped me expected a reward once I became successful. I also mentioned the moment when I gave a heartfelt gift, and it was thrown in the trash without a second glance. Then I added the video. I had recorded it that day, just in case I needed to remember the truth later. No faces were shown, but the audio was clear. You could hear the wrapping being torn, the sound of the scrapbook hitting the trash can, and her voice saying, "This isn't what I raised you for." I posted it on a quiet afternoon. I didn't expect much. Maybe a few friends would read it. Maybe some people would understand. But within a few hours, it started spreading. People began sharing it, commenting, liking. It reached people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some family members messaged me. They said they never knew. One aunt said, I always wondered why you were so distant. A cousin said, she always talked about you like you didn't care. Now I get it. The story kept moving. It reached more people than I thought it would. Then I got a message from my brother, Tyler. He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't ask what really happened. He just wrote, "What the hell did you do to Mom?" I read it and didn't reply. I didn't need to. He had picked his side a long time ago. He never saw how she treated me. Or maybe he did and just didn't care. Either way, I wasn't going to explain myself to him. Later, I heard that she was furious. She called family members, crying. She told them I was ungrateful, cruel, and trying to ruin her life. But by then, people had already seen the video. They heard her words. They saw what she did. And they started pulling away. She lost the image she worked so hard to keep. The good mother. The loving parent. It all cracked. I didn't post to hurt her. I posted because I was tired of being silent. Tired of hiding pain, just to keep someone else comfortable. I never used her name, but she revealed herself by how she reacted. The truth always comes out. And once it did, there was no going back. After everything, I knew what I had to do. I cut all contact with her. No more calls, no more messages, no visits. I blocked her number. I even changed my email. I didn't want anything from her, and I didn't want her near my life anymore. I also made sure she couldn't get anything from me. I called my lawyer and told him to update all my documents. I asked him to take her name off everything. My will, my trust, my insurance, everything. He was surprised at first, but when I explained what had happened, he understood. We made it all legal, step by step, with clear language. There would be nothing left for her, not now or later. I wasn't doing it to be cruel. I was doing it to protect myself. I knew what she was capable of. She had tried guilt, lies, and public shame. I didn't trust her to stop. I had to make sure she had no way to reach into my life again. A few months later, I heard from someone in the family that she was trying to sue me. She told people I had promised her a house, and that I owed her. She said I broke a deal. She found a lawyer and filed a case. I wasn't surprised, but I was still disappointed. She didn't try to talk. She didn't ask why. She just saw a door closing and tried to break it down. I gave the case to my legal team and stayed quiet. The day of the hearing came. I didn't even show up. My lawyer went in my place. He had every message, every document, every recording ready. Her lawyer stood up and said she had been promised a lake house. That her son had said he would take care of her. That he owed her after all she had done for him. Then my lawyer spoke. He showed the court the video. The one where she threw the gift in the trash and said, "This isn't what I raised you for." He showed her messages asking for money, asking for property, without a single word about me as a person. Only demands. The judge listened. Then he laughed. Not a big loud laugh, but the kind that shows someone's wasting time. He said, "There is no promise here. There is no contract. There is no case." He told her to stop wasting the court's time. She lost badly. And now people really started to see who she was. After that, she stopped trying to contact me directly. But I still heard from others that she was telling her version of the story. That I was ungrateful. That I turned on my own mother. But no one believed her the same way anymore. The truth was out. People had seen too much. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel like I had won. I just felt free. There was no more fear. No more guilt. The ties were cut clean and clear. She had pushed too far. And now, she had nothing left to take. The lake house was real. I bought it a year before all this happened. It was small but beautiful. The view was peaceful, and the silence felt safe. I never told anyone about it. I didn't show pictures, didn't talk about it at work, not even with close friends. It was mine, a place that reminded me of how far I'd come. For a while, I thought about giving it to my mom, back when I still believed we could fix things. But she proved to me that she didn't want a relationship, she wanted a prize. After everything, I didn't want that house to go to waste. I didn't want it to just sit there. I wanted to give it to someone who deserved it, someone who had made a real difference in my life without asking for anything in return. That's when I thought of Mrs. Collins. She was my teacher in middle school. I was 12, quiet, and angry most days. At home, things were hard. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel loved. I never said anything to her directly, but she could tell something was wrong. She gave me extra time after class. She let me sit in her room during lunch. She once gave me a book with a note inside that said, "You matter." I still have that book. One day, she called a school counselor without telling me. That led to someone checking in at home. Things got a little better for a while after that. I didn't know it then, but looking back now, she may have been the first adult who ever truly looked out for me. I found her online. She had retired and was living in a small apartment in another town. I reached out, and we talked for the first time in years. She remembered me right away. We caught up, and I told her thank you. I told her that she helped me more than she ever knew. Then I told her I had a gift for her. She didn't want to accept it at first. She said it was too much. She said I didn't owe her anything. But that was the point. She never asked for anything. and that's why she deserved it. After some time, she agreed. I signed the deed over to her a few weeks later. I posted about it online, but I didn't name her. I just shared the story in simple words. I wrote, "The lake house was real. I gave it to someone who helped me when I had nothing. Some people earn things. Others demand them and lose everything." The post went viral. People shared it again and again. Some said it gave them hope. Some said they had teachers like that too. I didn't respond to most of the comments. I just wanted people to understand one thing. Kindness matters. Quiet actions matter. My mom saw the post. I know because she sent a message. Just one word. Wow. I didn't reply. The lake house is now in the hands of someone who showed love without asking for a reward. That's how it should be. After everything, I felt no pride or joy. There was no sense of winning. Only stillness. No anger remained, just the quiet feeling of something finally finished. I wasn't chasing revenge. I was stepping away from pain. It wasn't satisfying. Nothing about it brought happiness. But it brought space. That space gave me room to breathe, think, and live without pressure. No more waiting for calls that came with guilt. No more walking on eggshells. She still tries to speak through voicemail. Her voice always carries the same words. "You ruined your own mother." Some sound calm, others forced with tears. Each message follows the same pattern: blame, never reflection. I don't listen beyond the first few seconds. I delete them. I already know how they end. Her words no longer reach me. That part of life has passed. She believes I changed for no reason. In her mind, she gave everything and received nothing in return. But she never paused to ask what really happened. She never looked at the full story. That truth stays hidden from her. Hate isn't part of how I feel. There's no desire to harm her, but no reason to open the door again either. Forgiveness is built on understanding and regret. None of that ever came. I kept going without it. Now my world feels lighter. Mornings arrive without tension. Choices are my own. No weight on my shoulders from someone else's expectations. No voice behind every step. She was a parent in name, but not in action. Survival was taught, but never comfort. Control was given, care was withheld. I had to learn trust and healing far away from her reach. People talk about time fixing wounds. That's not always true. Time can give you distance. What happens in that space is what matters most. I used it to find peace, not answers. There was no big event that broke us, just a long trail of small moments, each one pushing me further away. Being overlooked, used, judged. It built up until there was nothing left to hold on to. And so I let go. She viewed me as someone who owed her a future. But I was never her second chance. I was her shield, her excuse, her tool. Never her child in the way a child should be loved. She shaped me with sharpness, not care. She built something strong, not knowing strength turns when pushed too far. She raised a weapon. I just turned the blade around. Do you think I was wrong for giving the lake house to someone else and cutting my mom out of my life? Or did she get what she deserved? I'd really like to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss one.